Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, as always, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. Hope all of the Bird Gang is having a fantastic week, by the way. What I want to accomplish on today's show is take a look at the updated Eagles pre-draft visits tracker. Up to this point, which players have met with or are going to visit with the Philadelphia Eagles in the lead-up to the 2025 NFL Draft coming up at the end of this month. With that, this is today's poll question. Let's hear from you down in the comment section. It's also today's pinned comment. Who do you want the Birds and Howie Roseman to draft in the first round with pick number 32? Drop me a name or even names down below in the comment section right now. Let's begin with Jaylen Reed, the Penn State safety. Earlier this week when we looked at that Mel Kiper mock draft, we talked about another Penn State safety in Kevin Winston, who was lost after a couple of games due to a partially torn ACL. For Reed, he was able to step in. He got some more time, and he played well. Has good NFL size, good overall production as a 2-year starter. Some concerns with him on tape. He does play with natural instincts and route awareness, unlike Winston, who I think is a little bit of a better athlete. For Reed, doesn't always run well enough to play over the top or handle certain targets in man coverage, but he's physical enough as a run supporter. Does need to improve his approach as an on-field tackler because at times he has bad angles or he misses some of those tackles, but best suited to play as a backup safety in downhill zone coverages, and then maybe he can develop over time. And then there's TJ Sanders of South Carolina, really good athlete. And as we've talked about, this is a good and deep defensive tackle class. Sanders has the potential to be a first or second round pick. He is 6'4", 297 pounds, had 8.5 sacks and 16.5 TFLs over his last 2 college seasons, and has real pass rushing upside in the NFL. As we know, Philadelphia so far with today's show, they have a need at safety and they have needs along the defensive line. Next up, Nick Scourton of Texas A&M. That Texas A&M roster loaded, especially along that defensive line. He stands at 6'3", weighs in at 257 pounds. Began his college career at Purdue, but was a first-team All-SEC edge rusher in his 1 year with the Aggies. He had 14 TFLs and 5 sacks, going up against some really good competition. Has some athleticism, but is a good power rusher as well. Projects to maybe go late in the first round or early in the second. Trey Amos, one of the top corners in this class, out of Ole Mis, 6'1", 195, good size. He played at Louisiana and Alabama before playing at Ole Miss in 2024. He started 13 games with 3 interceptions, ran well at the NFL Combine, clocking a 4.43. Most likely would fit into a zone scheme, and as we know, Vic Fangio does a lot of that. Another corner, Jacob Parrish, Kansas State. He's 5'10", 191, so not as big as Amos, a little bit of an undersized corner, but he's extremely athletic. He ran faster than Amos, a 4.35 at the NFL Combine. He had a vertical jump of 37.5 inches, so very explosive, a broad jump of 10 feet 9 inches. 2-year starter at Kansas State. He has some versatility to his game. Played inside, outside corner, but I would imagine because he's a little bit tinier, that might force him inside at the NFL level. Shemar Turner, yet another defensive lineman for the Texas A&M Aggies, 6'3", 290 pounds, 3-year starter, has inside-outside versatility. I'm always a fan of that personally. He had 8 sacks over his last 2 years, has the upside to be an interior defensive lineman in the NFL who can penetrate, and then depending on the down, the situation, scheme, he can play a little bit of defensive end as well. Dylan Fairchild, if the Eagles want to go back to that Georgia well, offensive guard, interior offensive lineman. He was the Bulldogs starting left guard specifically the last 2 years. Probably going to be a day 2 pick. He is big. 6'5", 318 pounds from that interior offensive line. And he's one of several offensive linemen brought in for visits this year for the Eagles. As we know, Howie Roseman loves to build within the trenches at the NFL Combine. He called it a healthy obsession. Before we continue to push forward on today's show, if you were watching us earlier this week, we welcomed on a brand new sponsor, our friends at Brunt. They sent me a brand new pair of work boots. I absolutely love them because they're as comfortable as sneakers. They're extremely durable, and I wear them every time I'm in the wood shop. You can see the products for yourself at bruntworkwear.com/chat. We have a lot of working men who are willing to get their hands dirty and get grimy who watch this program. Brunt is for you. And a lot of you don't know this about me. You might see me in front of the camera and say, he's just a face in front of the camera. He has a good broadcasting voice. Well, I have other passions. That includes woodworking. Woodshop was my favorite class back in high school at Bayard Rustin in Westchester. I love building things, creating things, turning projects into something that you can have forever and be proud of. With woodworking specifically, I love getting my hands on old, tired pieces of wood art and then transforming them into something really cool. This is actually a table that we're showing you that I built a few years ago after my mom passed away. And when she passed, she said, anytime you see a butterfly, I want you to think of me. So I built this table from scratch. I would burn that butterfly on top, and now it's a memorial for my mom in my bedroom. And the issue when I'm woodworking, or if you're working on a project, deck, building a house, you name it, it's that we're on our feet all the time. We need comfortable, durable, good-looking boots. That's why I'm so excited to tell you about our brand new sponsor, Brunt. The boots that I have, the Marin boots, the most comfortable work boots I've ever worn. You can finally have durable work boots that are as comfortable as your sneakers. Join over 500,000 other customers and join the Brunt family today. They let you try the boots on the job risk-free, which I think is awesome. And all their products have free shipping. The best-selling Marin work boots are not only built for the toughest job sites, they're completely waterproof. Whether it's rain, mud, standing water, your feet stay dry. But Brunt isn't just about work boots. They offer a full range of high-performance gear built for tough jobs, from heavy-duty work pants to weather-resistant jackets. Brunt designs durable, reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive in any condition. And they've reinvented comfort for the hardest workers out there. We have a great deal that we want to tell you about. For a limited time, our listeners, our viewers get $10 off at Brunt by using the code CHAT at bruntworkwear.com/chat. Just head to bruntworkwear.com/chat. Use that code. You're all set. Even better, Brunt lets you try all of their products on the job risk-free, as I mentioned. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that Chat Sports, Eagles Now, and Chase Sr. sent you. Back to our pre-draft visits tracker as part of the Eagles' top 30 visits. And I think this is significant because since Howie Roseman took back control from Chip Kelly and being the Eagles general manager, a lot of their first-round picks are players who they have visited with. Femi Oladejo, an edge rusher from UCLA who stands at 6'3", weighs in at 259. He started his college career at Cal before finishing up the last 2 years at UCLA. He had 4.5 sacks and 13.5 TFLs his final season with the Bruins. Made the switch from off-ball linebacker to edge rusher in the 2024 season. Found a lot of success. So he could be a little bit more of a raw developmental player who might not be a high-level impact player right from the jump. But look at how quickly Jaylen Hunt was able to make an impact. I mean, he started his college career at Cornell as a safety. He went to Houston Christian and played edge rusher, and then by the time the playoffs came around, he was firmly a part of that Eagles pass rush at defensive end. This Ohio State team that won the national championship, you will see and hear a lot of names called from that team throughout the entire NFL draft, especially along the offensive line. This guy here to my right, Donovan Jackson, really good player, 6'4", 315, played mostly left guard for the Buckeyes, but stepped in to replace Josh Simmons at left tackle after Simmons suffered that patellar tendon injury against Oregon, and he played fairly well. So I think his best fit in the NFL, most likely back at guard, but it's always so impressive when a player can pop out to tackle, especially a guy with good size like this. He's big, he's athletic, and I think he's going to develop into a quality NFL starter. Tyler Barron, edge rusher out of Miami. He's 6'5", 258. He started his collegiate career at Tennessee and then transferred to Miami for the 2024 campaign. Last year, 5.5 sacks, 11 TFLs in his 61 career games. Pretty good production. 19 sacks, 39 TFLs. I think he's going to be more of a mid-round pick. I doubt he goes day 2. I think he's going to be a day 3 guy. I am a huge fan of William & Mary offensive tackle Charles Grant. I think he's one of the hidden gems in this draft class, kind of like Jaylen Hunt last year, coming out of Houston Christian. And Jaylen Hunt started his college career at Cornell as a safety. He beefed up at Houston Christian, turned into an excellent edge rusher late in the year in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl for Philadelphia. He was a big reason why that Eagles pass rush dominated Patrick Mahomes. Howie Roseman always does a good job of finding these diamond-in-the-rough types of prospects, and I think Charles Grant could be another one of them. 6'5", 311. He was a high school wrestler. He's extremely nasty, and you see the wrestling background on film, but off the field, I know some people close to that program. He's a really nice dude. Didn't start playing football until his junior year of high school, but he did get significant experience at William & Mary, starting 41 games for a run-heavy offense, likely a day 2 or a day 3 pick, and he could be a developmental player for Jeff Statlin and down the road turn into a really high-level player along the offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles. Running back Jaydon Blue, 5'9", 196 pounds. He had a really strong junior season in 2024 with 730 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. He was also a really good receiving threat, and so he does have dual threat ability to his game. He added 42 catches, 368 yards through the air, and 6 more touchdowns. So that is 8 touchdowns on the ground, 6 through the air, 14 combined. His workload, a little bit limited in college. He only had 214 total rushing attempts. At the combine, he did run a 4.38 at his pro day. He ran a sub 4.3. According to some people in attendance, you never know if those numbers are juiced. I like his game. He has pull-away speed. He's a dynamic player. One thing he must solve, ball security issues. Fumbled a lot at Texas. Can't happen at the NFL level. Donovan Ezeiruaku, we've talked about him a little bit on the show as well. Edge rusher from Boston College, very productive player. He's from South Jersey, went to Williamstown High School. He's looked at as one of the top edge rushers in this class. May have solidified his first-round status over the last couple of months because he was stellar at the Senior Bowl. And then he had a good showing at the NFL Combine. His 3-cone time of 6.94, the best of all edge rushers. He was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year and an All-American in 2024 after having 16.5 sacks, 20.5 TFLs. That was right behind Mike Green out of Marshall, who Ray Dinger really loves. Dinger says that he really likes Mike Green. Maxwell Hairston, cornerback, Kentucky, 5'11", 183. A little bit of a smaller player, but he can run. 2-year starter at Kentucky, 6 picks, 10 PBUs in 20 games over the last 2 years. 5 of those picks came in 2023. He returned 2 of them to the crib. So a knack for making big plays. Missed some time in 2024, but did work out at the Combine, and he flew. A 4.28 40-yard dash, and he's on Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 player list ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. Elijah Roberts, defensive lineman out of SMU, started his career at Miami. So there's a lot of pedigree there. And then SMU obviously made it to the college football playoff in 2024. Roberts spent 2 years with the Ponies, put up big numbers in 2023 and in 2024. Had 17.5 sacks, 24 TFLs. He's 6'4", 285. A little bit of a tweener, could play defensive tackle, could play edge rusher as well. But again, I do like that positional versatility. Marcus Mbow, offensive lineman, Purdue, 6'4", 303, played right guard and right tackle during his career at Purdue. We've also talked about him. He can really play all along that line. I think he's more of a natural fit at offensive guard. Not the biggest dude, but does have some good athleticism. There was some good and bad on tape. Josh Conerly, offensive tackle out of Oregon. If you watch the Big Ten championship game, he was impressive against Abdul Carter, who I think is the number one player in this draft class. Conerly is big, moves well, 6'5", 311, and he played left tackle as a starter for 2 years at Oregon. First team All Big Ten player this past year. Good showing at the combine. Ran a 5.05 40-yard dash. Had a vertical jump at that size of 34.5 inches. Two more players here. Anthony Belton. We've also talked about him on the show. I interviewed him at the NFL Combine. If you're looking for a mauler, if you're looking for a dude who is as big as a Tesla Cybertruck, Tesla, very controversial these days. Don't get butthurt. He was 6'6", 336 this past year. Arm length of just under 34 inches. He played left tackle at NC State. The point here being, whether you want to compare him to a Tesla Cybertruck, a Mack truck, or a train, he is a huge dude. He can move NFL quality players, and he's very athletic. I like him in the ground game too. When he gets to that second and third level, it's scary. I would not want to get bulldozed by him. And then there's Jaylen Travis, who was at Oklahoma State, then went to Iowa State, another massive prospect here. He's 6'8", 339 pounds, starter at left tackle his only season at Iowa State. Actually started his college career at Princeton. I think he may have committed to Oklahoma State, went to Princeton, and then went to Iowa State. Again, the theme here with the Eagles, as always, tapping into and looking into a lot of players along the offensive line. Hope you enjoyed today's show. In addition to all of the content that I publish here on YouTube and talking about the Birds every day, year-round, I also talk about the Eagles on my social media pages. So give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior.